these niggas have motion except for me. There has to be one real nigga left in America, in this damn country.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
Fuck you. War.
I apologize for my lateness. I'm gonna need all these Germans and Prussians to kiss my black ass, goddammit.
Baby, 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 slow. I need you to slow down. Slow down, please. Quit that messing around.
Soul, middle, child.
Baby, 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 slow. I need you to slow down.
All right, it's been long enough. I guess we're finally ready. Let's crack this case
Soul,
open.
middle, child.
Welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me try something else out here. Let me see if does this thing work right. Let me see if this is gonna work for me the way I need it to. All right. All right. Let's get this thing cracking. What's good? Welcome to the show. Thank you guys for coming in. Hit that like button as you make your way into the room. Today, we are celebrating a total Groyper victory. Nick Fuentes has inspired Ben Shapiro to go on a 40-minute rant against all that is Groyper, all that is America First. You can't comment on YouTube. What happened on YouTube? Are you blocked over here? What's going on, Latina Patriot? You should have a wrench. How you can't comment? I don't know what's going on with that. I'll look into that later on. Let me come back to this though. I got you, Latina Patriot. But look, so anyway, Shapiro goes on a 40-minute rant against the Groypers, against America First, against Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson. You know, a few months back, an online sort of right-wing influencer named James Lindsay, he started a sort of attack movement against what he was calling the woke right. And for a while, I could not figure what the hell is the woke right. I didn't really get it. What was he talking about? And it occurs to me there is a woke right in American politics, but it's not what the James Lindsays would have you think. And so the woke right wing of American politics is effectively the Ben Shapiro Zionism wing. Those are the woke people in right wing politics for all practical intents and purposes, right? And so now you have the woke right as represented by the Shapiros versus the Groypers represented by Nick Fuentes here. And they've had a long-standing beef going back decades. Well, a decade, rather. Going back on about roughly 10 years. If you let Fuentes tell it, I'm going to play it for you right now. Shapiro basically created Fuentes a long time ago. You tried to crush this kid, and he just would not stay crushed.
Suffice to say, Barack Obama, in the lame duck period, so the Democrats lost the election. He's on his way out. There's a resolution in the Security Council condemning the settlements in the West Bank in Israel. And typically, the U.S. delegation will veto those resolutions condemning Israel. Well, Obama's on his way out. He's got nothing to lose. So the U.S. delegation abstains from the resolution, and it passes. And Fox News and all the pro-Israel conservatives are calling him an anti-Semite. They're saying he hates Jews. He's an anti-Semite. He hates Israel. And I saw that, and it struck me as strange because it seemed hypocritical. It seemed like how when conservatives would critique anything about race, we got called racist, or anything about feminism, we got called sexist. All Obama did was uphold U.S. policy on the West Bank that we've had since '67, which is we don't support the settlements. I said, how is it anti-Semitic to just be consistent on our U.S. foreign policy? Like I said, which is a Republican-Democrat consensus. And I got attacked for this. I wrote a big article about this. I tweeted about it. I tweeted to Ben Shapiro. I said, you know, I've never seen anything on the Daily Wire that's actually critical of Israel. And he quote tweets me. And at this time, I have 1,000 followers on Twitter.
How old are you?
I'm 18. I'm a freshman.
Still a freshman in college, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is even before I started my show. And I don't know, I probably got 100 likes on this tweet. It wasn't a viral tweet. He quote tweets me and says, to accuse a Jew of dual loyalty is the surest sign of anti-Semitism. And like, this is how it sort of begins. And I see this tweet. And by the way, that was on Christmas Eve in 2016.
He immediately called you an anti-Semite.
Mm-hmm. So I'm driving to...
On Christmas Eve, no less. Tried to crush him on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve Mass with my family. And I see on Twitter, the notification comes up, Ben Shapiro quote tweets me, calling me an anti-Semite. And I was like, what is this? Like, why is this guy attacking me? You know, because I don't have a platform at this time. I'm not an influential guy or anything. And so then I put out another tweet, similar. I said something like, if you're China first, you should live in China. If you're Mexico first, you should live in Mexico. If you're Israel first, maybe you should go live in Israel. And again, he quote tweets me and says, you're an anti-Semite.
That same night?
This was, I think, a couple weeks later. Happened a little bit further down the line.
So they have a long-running beef. It didn't just fall out of the sky. I mean, in a lot of ways, and Nick is kind of telling the story openly. You know, Shapiro created him. And it's kind of poetic when you think about it, you know. You've created your own worst enemy. It's kind of like the Yakubian thing where black folk created white people. The fact that you've now created your own arch nemesis, it's beautiful. It's really a chef kiss kind of situation here. And here's Fuentes a couple of years ago running down on Shapiro and the Klan and his clan at some political event.
Ben, it's great to see you. Why did you give a 45-minute speech about me at Stanford? And you won't even look at my
Hey, he's with his kids.
Come on, I'm right here. Only hey, let him cross, man. Let him cross. I know you're with your family, but I can't get to anywhere else. A 45-minute speech? Wow. Well, that's our free speech warrior, everybody. Champion of the battle of ideas. Good job, man. Hey, come on, it's his family, man. It's his family. Hey, no. One's it.
Aren't you supposed to rise above instead of going down in the mud with
Because he
someone?
gave a 45-minute speech about me.
You're only repeating that because you're trying to make yourself sound important and you're not.
They've been smearing him for years. This is the only time we can get him is when he's crossing the street and he uses, I guess he's just like the Palestinians using human shields, right? That's what I'm trying to say.
And the problem that the Fuentes Groyper movement represents is a type of young, energetic, brash, anti-establishment, definitely anti-AIPAC, anti-ADL, anti-Adelson. You know, the whole secret hand that rocks the American cradle. Nick Fuentes is kind of representing a wave of young, dissonant male voices that see all of this going on. And they call it out. They talk about it openly. They were talking about it when everybody else was talking about transgenderism and stuff. These guys were, you know, what about AIPAC? And for a while, Fuentes was in the wilderness, if you would. You know, he was banned on all of the major platforms, debanked, put on a no-fly list, the whole shebang. And then recently, he got featured in a New York Times piece. And then again, just the other day, I think another New York Times piece came out. That's where I snatched this image from. And you notice they're using like really good photos of him now. This is like reminiscent of a classic James Dean type of photo here. And I say that to say this. The momentum is unshakable at this point. They have to now acknowledge the Fuentes Groyper issue. Last night, I think it was last night, on CNN though, they had to talk about it. Your boy made the news.
And our politics lead, more GOP on GOP backlash following Tucker Carlson's interview with anti-Semitic influencer Nick Fuentes. The Heritage Foundation's defense of Tucker Carlson led a prominent Jewish lawyer to quit the Heritage Foundation's National Task Force to Combat Anti-Semitism. That lawyer posted yesterday, quote, "I cannot serve under someone who thinks Nazis are worth debating. Here is my resignation letter." And here now is the author of that letter, Mark Goldfeder. Mark, thanks so much for joining us. So you are just one of many prominent voices we've heard really criticizing the Heritage Foundation as well as Carlson and Fuentes. The president of the Heritage.
You know, Mark looks like he could use an early life check. Pretty sure. I don't know anything for a fact, but I don't know. Mark just looks like the kind of guy that could use an early life check.
Foundation, Kevin Roberts, he denounced Nick Fuentes' views, but he defended Tucker Carlson for giving him a platform. In your resignation letter, you wrote, quote, "Free speech protects the right to speak. It does not compel anyone to provide a megaphone for a Nazi," unquote. So explain for some people out there who might not understand, why is this not an issue about free speech?
Sure. Well, What Roberts did was he conflated a lot of issues. First, he conflated criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. Anyone is allowed to say whatever they want about the state of Israel. Sometimes it's anti-Semitic, sometimes it isn't. You could call it out when it is. But to pretend that what Nick Fuentes was saying when he asked for the death penalty for perfidious Jews was somehow criticism of Israel is completely disingenuous. Then, to your point, he conflated cancellation with not giving a platform to a Nazi. Free speech that anyone can say whatever they want. But
You know, this is really shitty work from CNN. You guys did you guys have to cut your audio department, your engineer staff? What's going on, CNN? You guys don't normally suck this bad.
free speech also includes right, freedom of association and the freedom not to associate. So everybody, self-included, and it should be heard, is free to walk away from Tucker.
All right, Mark, unfortunately, we're having audio problems with you, but we thank you so much for coming on. Let's bring this conversation back out to the panel if we can. The Daily Wire's Ben Shapiro used more than 40 minutes of his show today to slam Carlson, to slam Fuentes, and to slam Kevin Roberts from the Heritage Foundation. Here's just some of what he had to say.
If Republicans decide to cower before the likes of neo-Nazis and their propagandizers.
It's wild when you think about it. The media at large is picking up on this, and they're effectively taking the Shapiro side, which now makes you wonder, like, so there is a play to be the dominant voice in right-wing politics. Like one particular group, one particular ethnic vision is making a play for the dominant voice in the right wing.
They deserve to lose, and they will lose. Neo-Nazis and their propagandizers are not Republicans. They're not America First. They're not MAGA. They sure as hell aren't conservative. I will not.
How can you be a Zionist and America First? There would seem to be an inherent contradiction there.
Stand by while it is handed over to those who betray the most fundamental principles I've spent my entire life defending and advocating. That is a path to defeat and a path to moral oblivion.
So there you have Shapiro, Shermichael, making the argument not only is this immoral, but this is going to hurt Republicans in the end. Do you agree?
I agree 100%. I watched that earlier today. I know Ben. I was happy to see a number of conservatives sharing that on social media.
Another thing I noticed about the quote black conservatives, and you know how we feel about this whole thing. Putting the black first is problematic, right? But I noticed that almost every black conservative on the mainstream is like on the Shapiro side. What happened to you, Andrew Tatum? No, it's not Andrew Tatum. What's that nigga name? What's Tatum? Well, anyway, you know who I'm talking about. Sheriff Tatum? Brandon Tatum. Brandon. What happened to you, boy?
Even via email chains and text chains. That said, these ideas that are represented by Fuentes and the ideas that Tucker, at least platforms, because I don't know what his personal thoughts are, but he's certainly given these folks a huge megaphone, are not representative of the vast majority of the American people. And so what you're doing to...
I think it's actually closer to the truth. A lot of what Nick Fuentes talks about does resonate with a lot of Americans. I don't know about the vast majority, but a good sizable chunk.
To the party, by platforming these ideals, you're making moderate-leaning conservatives, you're making independent-leaning conservative voters ostracized effectively by saying, I don't have a place in this party. The values that I hold are not belonging to the Republican Party of yesterday. And so I think if you're looking at this electorally speaking, you don't want to ostracise people you need by feeling they lack a sense of belonging. You want to ostracize the people who should not be in the party.
So one other thing, though, Karen, and Shapiro and others will note that this is a problem on the right, but it is also a problem on the left. And there have been a lot of...
It's interesting how the Middle East is the one issue that has united the left and the right. And I think let's just be blunt for a minute, because I've been avoiding speaking directly about this whole deal ever since the October 7th thing happened. I started to get the energy shift. I'm going to keep my head down for this one because I know how it's gonna get hot, and it has gotten hot. So let me just say something very bluntly. For the last year and a half, 2 years, we've watched the events play out. We've seen the destruction, the devastation. You can call it the G side. You can say it's not. Whatever. The thing is, if that's what you guys are willing to do to defend your position when you feel attacked, when you feel threatened, when you feel that everything is on the line, if that's what you're willing to do, then we have to forgive Germany. It's becoming that stark. If you're going to tell us that everything that you've done in that little corner of the desert is totally justified because your threat, your life, your existential existence, your national sovereignty was threatened, if you're telling me that you had to do all of that because you felt in danger, then we have to forgive Germany.
Jewish New Yorkers who have expressed real issues with the man that is likely to be the next mayor of New York, Zohran Mamdani, and their view that he has mainstreamed anti-Israel and anti-Semitic ideas such as globalize the Intifada, which a lot of people think is calling for violence against Jews, etc.
Yeah.
Do you see this as a bipartisan problem?
Not in the way that you're describing. I think looking at what's happened in New York, you're right. There are people who have some concerns, and I think Mamdani has tried to do a lot of.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think we should forgive Germany. Hey, Snowman, I saw that this morning. Dick Cheney has moved on to his next office, I guess we'll call it. Rest in peace, Cheney. It is poetic, though. Cheney's out of the politics. He's out of the political realm. I mean, he's been out of the life of politics for a while now, but there is a kind of changing of the guard. And it appears that this changing of the guard has also sparked a kind of a right-wing, a woke right civil war.
And I just want the anti-American, anti-Israel, anti-West crowd to understand something. You're going to have to come through me and millions of people just like me, and you're not going to make it. You think your stupid little podcast, or your stupid little subscription program, or your little TV show, or maybe you have a little radio show, is going to change the world like hell it is, not if I and everybody else have something to say about it. And I just want the anti-American.
So that is Mark Levin, right-wing commenter, obviously, Zionism supporter, all the things. All of the political winds are coming together against this one guy, basically this kid. And it's crazy because he's like Voldemort for a lot of people on the right wing. He really has become, the name that you couldn't speak. And now the evil is so apparent. The battle is at your front door that you have to speak his name. But the harder you fight him, the more powerful he becomes.
Get your shirts. We're all Wang halves. Guess what, Mark Levin? You cannot control a white-ass nigga going hard as fuck. There's one thing you didn't count on.
Do we have any white-ass niggas going hard as fuck in the chat today? You can never be certain, I was at the gas station the other night and I had to look over my shoulder. There could be Wang gaffs here. You never know. Is there any white ass niggas going hard as fuck in the chat today? One's up. Put a one in the chat.
These plans that were laid long ago, these plans they've made, they're going to destroy Iraq and then Syria and then Iran, and we're all going to go along with it. There's just one thing you didn't account for. One white-ass nigga going hard as fuck. A human wrench into...
That's all it takes, man. That is all it takes. You know, honestly, if you look back at history, there are several moments in history that have totally depended on one white-ass nigga going hard as fuck. I think there was a story about like a lone berserker on a bridge somewhere fighting off the British or something like that. Sometimes all it takes is a one white-ass nigga going hard as fuck, and next thing you know, Deus Vult, crusades and shit. I hear Trump is launching an African crusade. We're gonna go kill some African terrorists and stuff. We're fighting for Black Christians in Africa. African crusade. All right, Deus Vult Part 2. The Africa tour.
The system who inspires millions. There's just one thing you didn't count on. One white-ass nigga going hard as fuck, bringing all your plans to a screeching halt. Cannot be intimidated, cannot be canceled, cannot be censored, cannot be gaslit, honeypotted. One white-ass nigga, one Roman, one American, one Christian, one nigga going hard as fuck. That's what you didn't count on. Who would win? All your money and all the banks and Israel and AIPAC and the rest of it. Your lies, your slander, your cynicism, your cruelty.
I just love how through the sheer will of some kid in Chicago, we have all discovered our common nigginess. You a nigga going hard as fuck? Bro, I'm a nigga going hard as fuck too. Holy shit. Same? That's crazy. Eisen, bro, who knew? Who knew? All these niggas going hard as fuck.
Or one Wang half. Can the real Wang half please stand up? Can all the Wang halves get up, rise up, and tell them it's America first? It's America first, bitch. Fuentes.store. Get the hat, get the shirt. We support the show. Fuentes.store. Get the hats. Get them in time for Christmas.
And again, you know, there becomes this weird problem of, you know, the more you try to attack, the cooler they become. Like every attack just becomes reflected back at you as a stronger attack. So Ben Shapiro, he tries to play all of these clips of Nick Fuentes, you know, his greatest hits, his most egregious comments. And we just turn that around and make some right-wing kino out of it.
Nick Fuentes is a Hitler admirer and a Holocaust denier. Buddy, it's Führer Friday. It is Hitler Friday. Shut up. It is Heil Hitler Friday, nigga. Heil Hitler, all my niggas Nazis. Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So, you know, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. He was also really fucking cool. It doesn't really sound correct to me. Wait a second. It takes 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies, and you have 15 ovens, probably in 4 different kitchens, right? Doing 24 hours a day, every day for 5 years. How long would it take you to make 6 million? I don't know. It certainly wouldn't be 5 years, right? The math doesn't seem to add up there.
The math doesn't quite seem to add up there. I don't think you'd result in 6 million, maybe 200 to 300,000 cookies. And I think the Red Cookie Association said something like that, probably 200 to 300,000 cookies baked, probably. And in addition, you know, in this hypothetical, I imagine that if you took aerial photographs over the kitchens, you would need to see certain smokestacks to release the smoke from baking the cookies. And the smokestacks would project certain shadows, but I guess they're not visible in the aerial photographs taken over the kitchens. Moreover, if you
see, not everybody is really, really well versed in cookie logistics. You know, I've baked a couple of cookies in my life, and I know if you kind of have to scale it up, it becomes a lot more complicated. You know, when you squeeze that little Pillsbury dough out of the tube and you put like 12 to 15 of those little cookies on the tray, that's pretty simple and straightforward. Imagine millions of cookies, though. Like, could you imagine having to do that for millions of cookies? Like, it's just a different thing.
look at the soil texture, it's really not deep enough for mass cookie storage underground.
So yeah, Ben's pretty pissed that Nick Fuentes is having a run. And then he went up there and he talked to Tucker Carlson. Oh my God, why is Tucker Carlson talking to Nick Fuentes? Bad white guys, all right? Bad white boys. You white boys are not supposed to talk to each other, all right? Bad white boys. Stop it.
I don't think it's cucky. I think it's reality to say that guilt is not inherited. Blood guilt is bad. One of the reasons that I'm mad about Gaza is because the Israeli position is everyone who lives in Gaza is a terrorist because of how they were born, including the women and the children. That's not a Western view. That's an Eastern view. That's a non-Christian. That's totally incompatible with Christianity and Western civilization. They say, oh, we're the defenders of Western civilization. Not with that attitude. You're not. Collective punishment is the enemy of Western civilization.
Yeah.
And so I hate that attitude. It's genocidal. The current claims that I'm a cancer, you know, from Ben Shapiro, whatever, we need to be excised from the body of conservatism is a genocidal position that it basically encourages violence, as they well know. The whole thing I hate.
Mm-hmm.
So like anytime you say a whole group of people is responsible for the sins of some of its members, like I'm out.
Yeah, but that's not my view.
It's not. Okay.
And you know, there's another thing about Fuentes, and not just Fuentes, but the whole alleged white nationalist movement. You know, shout out to all the Wayne gaffs we had on the panel yesterday. Once you actually let these guys talk at length, they lose the they lose that reputation of being violent, genocidal people. They're just actually regular people with some opinions that are worth talking about. Turns out they don't want to just, you know, wipe out everybody who's not them.
So tell me your views. Like, rather than, you're one of those people, one of the reasons I wanted to meet you is you're one of those people who is defined by clips.
Yes.
And I'm one of those people also.
Yes.
Right? So I get it. So I'm going to just shut up and you tell me what you actually believe.
Yeah. Well, and listen, I mean, and I appreciate you saying that because that's just the reality of the media environment we're in. So I don't expect you to know all my views, but I mean, as far as the Jews are concerned, I think that, like I said, you cannot actually divorce Israel and the neocons and all of those things that you talk about from Jewishness, ethnicity, religion, identity. And let me give you like a perfect example. So you say on your show that we need to treat Israel like any other country. And I sort of understand that in principle because Israel is another foreign country.
Yeah.
But Israel is unlike every other country in the sense that because the Jewish people are in a diaspora all over the world, there are significant numbers of Jews in Europe, but all.
And this is really what makes Fuentes dangerous, because this entire subject matter of ethnic motivations and loyalties and intents and interests and all that, it's always brought up as if the person talking about it has the most overblown, hostile ridiculous opinion and worldview about a thing. But when you actually listen to him explain it, it's the most basic, simple thing ever.
Also in the United States. And because of their unique heritage and story, which is that they're a stateless people, they're unassimilable, they resist assimilation for thousands of years. And I think that's a good thing. And now they have this territory in Israel. There's a deep religious affection for the state. It's bound up in their identity, the story of the Exodus from Egypt, the promise of the land, all these things. So let's say in the United States, for example, somebody like a Sheldon Adelson, he's not Israeli. Is he an ideological neocon? Does he believe in the promise of democratic globalism? I don't think necessarily. His heart is in Israel. And it's because he is a proud Jewish person. And I guess what I'm saying is that if you are a Jewish person in America, you're sort of, and again, it's not because they're born, but it's sort of a rational self-interest politically to say, I'm a minority. I'm a religious ethnic minority. This is not really my home. My ancestral home is in Israel. There's like a natural affinity that Jews have for Israel. And I would say on top of that, for the international Jewish community. They're extremely organized, and many of them are critical of Israel or Israel's current government or the project of Israel. But I guess what they have in common, unlike, let's say, like Singapore, for example, is that they have this international community across borders, extremely organized, that is putting the interests of themselves before the interests of their home country. And there's no other country that has a similar arrangement like that. No other country has a strong identity like that, this religious blood and soil conviction, this history of being in the diaspora, stateless, wandering, persecuted, and in particular, the historic animosity between the Jewish people and the Europeans.
So Ben Shapiro was watching this interview and he was at home seething because everything Nick Fuentes said is a relative truth. All right. It's, not all, but it's a broadly true thing that he's describing. And then this is the reason why the Fuentes position is growing and it's becoming relatively unassailable. It's because if you look for it, all the evidence is actually there.
There are Republicans who are concerned about illegal immigration, or because there are Republicans who are concerned about progressive voting patterns that Democrats brag about. They brag about this. The so-called browning of America, which is something I've said I don't care about, because I don't care about that. I care about how people vote. I care about how people assimilate. I care about...
Other people do care about the so-called browning of America. Like, I'm black, so the browning of America doesn't necessarily work in my interest, There's billions of brown people on the Indian subcontinent. I don't really care for that shit.
How people reflect American values in the Declaration of Independence and Constitution. I've said this stuff very openly, very clearly, many, many, many times. But the idea here is that if you care about any of those things, then you are part of the Great Replacement Theory. According to the left, everybody on the right is responsible for white supremacist shootings, including people like me.
It's ironic because just the other day we were covering something from Based Camp, and they were making a very, very great argument that the so-called replacement is actually happening to Black America first, faster. Anyway.
But let me first clarify what should not be a disqualifying factor. And I don't see some of these people there understanding this. Interviewing controversial figures should not be disqualifying at all. Whether it's Nick Fuentes, whether it's Vladimir Putin, whether it's Sergei Lavrov, whether it's Dugin, who we interviewed, Jeffrey Sachs, or Clint Howard, the lady nun.
I was like, wait, what?
These are not disqualifying factors, nor are bow ties or recently becoming enamored with fly fishing or even putting bow ties on the fish that you fly.
So we thought it would be interesting to take a look at a contemporary, modern-day, 2024 Russian grocery store 2 years into sanctions. Here we go. So I guess you put in 10 rubles here and you get it back when you put the cart back.
He discovered Aldi.
Yeah.
So it's free, but there's an incentive to return it. Come on.
Trader Joseph Stalin's.
Unicorn and mini mills. All right. And we all came in around $400, about $400. It was $104 US here. And that's when you start to realize that ideology maybe doesn't matter as much as you thought. Corruption. If you
it still matters.
People's standard of living and you tank it through filth and crime and inflation, and they literally can't buy the groceries they want, at that point, maybe it matters less what you say or whether you're a good person or a bad person. You're wrecking people's lives in their country, and that's what our leaders have done to us.
Well, what about Russian leaders literally imprisoning people for holding the wrong political perspectives? Or the fact that 60% of all Russians spend at least half of their income on food because of how poor they are. It should give you pause if someone simps for Sharia law.
Sharia law is bad, Seth. I don't know if you've heard that. It's bad. It's worse than what's happening in New York and Detroit. It's just bad.
Correct.
I don't know why. You should know, Seth, that the real danger.
I think Sharia law is coming to New York and Detroit, though. That's kind of the joke here.
Sharia law. Sharia law. And you can tell when you go to a place like Abu Dhabi or Riyadh, like, oh man, I hope we don't ever wind up with a society like this.
Now do Kandahar.
With a rape rate of 0, where you leave your keys in your Lamborghini and don't ever worry about it being stolen. And, you know, if people want to get wasted, they do it at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
And you guys caught that, right? You said a rape rate of 0.
Yeah.
Do you know the statistical likelihood of there being a rape rate of 0 in an Islamic country? Ironically, it's 0. You guys remember that?
So, Tucker Carlson, he's not the most loved person in the mainstream right wing, but we're going to move off from him. Let's get back to Ben Shapiro now. Seething little Ben here.
I want to do.
Oh, and shout out to Cafe as Bueno. Thanks for the $2 super chat. White infighting is always interesting. I mean, it's the stuff of history, man.
I need that money.
Something different on today's show. We're going to cover one topic in depth. That topic is, I think, the most important thing happening in the country. It was a hot topic last week, but I wanted to take some time to really gather my thoughts and speak on it in coherent fashion, holistic fashion. That topic is the fragmentation of the political right. That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes. They call themselves the Groypers. They are white supremacists. They hate women, Jews, Hindus, many types of Christians, brown people of a wide variety of backgrounds, blacks.
Doesn't it kind of, this whole clip is giving, I'm telling the principle. Ben Shapiro looks like a 45-year-old tattletale.
America's foreign policy and America's Constitution. They admire Hitler and Stalin. And that splinter faction is now...
Teacher, he likes bad people. he likes mean people. Teacher, punish him.
Being facilitated and normalized within the mainstream Republican Party. The main agent in that normalization is Tucker Carlson, who is an intellectual coward, a dishonest interlocutor, and a terrible friend. And Tucker Carlson last week was aided, abetted, celebrated for normalizing Nazism within the Republican Party by the mainstay organization of the traditional right, the Heritage Foundation. Now, before we explain what's been happening, let's make one thing clear. This is not about free speech or cancellation. It was never about free speech or cancellation. Free speech has a definition, the right to speak free of governmental coercion. I believe in it, of course. I've always defended it. Criticism of bad speech is, in fact, just a form of free speech. Cancellation also has a definition, the banning of particular people, including people like Nick Fuentes, from platforms like X or Facebook. I believe that Nick Fuentes is odious and despicable, but I've never called for his cancellation. And in fact, I've called for his restoration to those services, despite the fact that I think he's odious and despicable.
So what is it you want then? What do you really expect from him?
It is not cancellation to draw moral lines between viewpoints. In fact, we used to call that one of the key aspects of conservatism.
You know, and again, we got to go back to October 7th and everything that happened after. It's hard to look at the whole Gaza situation. Have you seen the picture of Gaza? There is no Gaza. There's just rubble and people looking for shit. And it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, we did that. That's great. And then also try to talk to me about morality. What is morality?
It is not cancellation to refuse to signal boost Hitler's supporters like Nick Fuentes. It is not cancellation to criticize Tucker Carlson for rhetorically fluffing Nick Fuentes and other anti-American crackpots. It's not cancellation if you urge others to stop promoting those who rhetorically fluff Nazi apologists. Those are all elements of free speech. And anyone who says differently is lying to you, and lying for the most cynical reasons to misdirect from their own defense of those Nazi apologists and their promoters. The issue here isn't that Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on his show last week. He has every right to do that, of course. The issue here is that Tucker Carlson decided to normalize and fluff Nick Fuentes, and that the Heritage Foundation then decided to robustly defend that performance. Those who criticize both Tucker and Heritage aren't canceling. They are quite properly drawing a moral line.
I think the issue here is that a year or two after October 7th, like 45% of the world right now is reconsidering everything about history. Everybody's looking at that whole situation and going, you know what? Maybe Germany wasn't that wrong. Maybe Uncle A had a point. I'm not saying I would have done everything he did. I'm just saying maybe he had a point. It's funny how just a couple of short months after October 7th, we're rethinking everything.
For the last 10 years, Ben Shapiro has pretended like I don't exist. Nick Fuentes, who, even if you ask him directly about me, he won't utter my name. It's like my name itself is a curse. It's like the words Nick Fuentes are not able to be spoken aloud. That's how he is. He literally will not say my name. But today, it was a clip show. Today, it was like a full-fledged Fuentes Updates clip show. It was like America's Funniest Videos. One clip after the other. 40 minutes, no ads. That's how you know they mean business.
It was like a rat beef. Ben Shapiro, he dropped the diss track. He dropped the diss track last night. Fuentes immediately got in the studio. He dropped the diss track. He took that diss track and dropped some remixes and some re-edits on it. This is the new rat beef.
When Ben Shapiro turns down the money from the advertisers, when Ben Shapiro doesn't do, let's say, 50 ad reads in a 50-minute video, that's how you know they mean business. He will literally do an ad read at a pro-life march. In person, he will give a speech in real life at a pro-life march about abortion, and he will stop and do an ad read for ZipRecruiter. But when you're talking about anti-Semitism, there's simply no time. There's no time. We mean business, because this is something we really care about.
He's actually just like with a diamond edge scalpel, just cutting Ben in pieces, just little tiny pieces right now.
No ads, 40-minute video, and about 50% of it was just my clips. Fuentes this, Fuentes that, he's a Nazi, sexist, Holocaust denier. Whoa, you're sounding like, you're giving me like Bill Maher or Rachel Maddow. What is this? I thought Shapiro was against SJWs. Now he sounds like one of them.
Ben Shapiro is the woke right. For a while, when that term first popped up on the internet, it was kind of hard to figure out what they meant, what the truth of it all was. And eventually, as you kind of track the whole dispute, it just becomes clear. Oh, it's Team Z. You guys are the woke people.
I thought he was against liberal tears and cancel culture, and
Safe spaces. Now you sound like one of them. So first, Nick Fuentes said a sexist thing, then he said a racist thing, then he said a Nazi thing and an anti-Semitic thing. He's a white supremacist. It's Hillary Clinton. Racist, sexist, homophobic. It's literally the basket of deplorables clip.
Here, let me play that segment for you, right? Let me show you the basket of deplorables.
Over his views, water them down, and make them far more palatable to a normal audience. As we'll discuss in a bit, this is what Tucker Carlson does for a living. But back to Nick Fuentes. To understand just what Tucker did here, we must actually examine what Nick Fuentes says on his show and has said for almost a decade, because he was asked precisely 0 questions about any of what you're about to see by Tucker Carlson. Nick Fuentes says women want to be raped.
A lot of women want to be raped. And when I say raped, I mean like, that sounds bad when I say it like that.
Yeah, it really does, though. It really does, though. But what if you're like a multi-billionaire with a square jawline and a jet? Do you think girls would let you tie them up and spank them with all types of objects and things, and then film it and write a book about it later? What if you were really that Dorian Gray type of guy? Or how about this? How about this? What if you were like this giant half man, half bull minotaur creature thing, and you were on some type of dairy farm, and some innocent local farm girl stumbled across you? What if that happened then? Do you think then? Because that's literally the new wave right now, that weird minotaur thing. Yeah. There is a book right now. All the reading girls are going crazy about what's essentially bestiality porn. It's a Beauty and the Beast farming scenario. But the girls, they call it literature. I am not reaching. I promise you, that's a real book. You're gonna make me Google it now. Because you said I'm reaching. Now I'm gonna Google what's the cow milking book girls are reading. Morning Glory milking? No, that's not it. Let me put smut in the search. Let me see if they give me the right. Oh no, wait, I can't find it. I got The Milking Farm. That's what it's called. Yes, morning. Yeah, The Milking Farm. Yeah. Tell me I'm reaching now. Tell me I'm reaching now. What even is that? And what is this thing? Is she helping? What is this thing that they're both cradling? Oh, it's a can of milk, and he's pouring out the can of milk onto her leg. Very, very interesting positioning of this gigantic, phallically shaped canister of milk. Hey, if you got to dress up like Mataro from MK to get submission, then fuck, hey man, if that's what you got to do to get into a chick's mind, because hey, free zone. Remember yesterday they were trying to tell me that you just got to get in a batch's mind. That's how you get submission. You just got to get in her mind. I'm up there arguing with Shanika. She trying to tell me, oh, it's better to just want to be wanted. I'm like, no, I like the need situation is better because you bitches be wanting to have sex with the half cow, half man thing. You be wanting all kinds of weird shit that a relationship can't stand. Like your wants are retarded. I can't go by your wants. That's ridiculous. No, no, no. We're not doing any of that. Anyway, these crazy girls and their fantasies.
And when I say raped, I mean like, that sounds bad when I say it like that. But there's like a lot of women that really want a guy to beat the shit out of them. But also they have to pretend, but part of it is they have to pretend like they don't.
Nick Fuentes says that his followers should kill, rape, and die in his name.
Raise your right hand. All right, everybody raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I will kill, rape, and die for Nicholas J. Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes says,
oh, come on, Ben. You just mad you ain't got no motion.
None of these niggas have motion except for me. There has to be one real nigga left in America, in this damn country.
Don't be a hater.
That women are whores who shouldn't be in politics.
I will continue my crusade against women in politics. Because it's always like this, and it's so ironic. Women are like, I don't like, when you say, I like, you have to affect the face. When you say to repeal the 19th Amendment, that offends me. That hurts my feelings. It's like, have you ever stopped and considered that maybe if you get offended, there's such a strong emotional reaction to political opinions you disagree with across the board. Maybe that's one of the reasons why you shouldn't be making political decisions. I'm not attacking women. I'm attacking whores. You have no problems, right? I'm attacking whores. I'm attacking sluts, stupid, dirty bitches.
Nick Fuentes says that Jim Crow was actually better for black people.
It was better for them too, number one, but number two, who cares? Who cares? You know, enough with the Jim Crow stuff. Who cares? Oh, they had to drink out of a different water fountain. Big fucking deal. Oh no, they had to go to a different school. Their water fountain in that famous picture was worse. Who cares? Grow up. Drink out of the fucking water fountain. It's water. It's the same. You know? And, you know, even if it was bad, who cares? Who cares? It's better. It's better in general. We all agree it was better for them. It's better for us. Better in general.
Nick Fuentes says that white people are justified in being racist.
The reason that we talk about this, by the way, I know a lot of black people see this and they go, man, why are you always talking about black people, this and that? Because there just needs to be some shame here. Well, there's a few reasons. First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
Nick Fuentes is a Hitler.
You know what's interesting? I don't remember Ben Shapiro having anything at all to say during the black fatigue conversation. Do you guys have any Ben Shapiro black fatigue clips? I noticed he went radio silent during that whole wave.
Admirer and a Holocaust denier.
Buddy, it's Führer Friday. It is Hitler Friday. Shut up. It is Heil Hitler Friday, nigga. Heil Hitler, all my niggas Nazis. Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So, you know, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. He was also really fucking cool. It doesn't really sound correct to me. Wait a second. It takes 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies, and you have 15 ovens, probably in 4 different kitchens, right? Up there. I don't think you'd... And the smokestacks...
Yeah, we did the cookie bit already. But you get... Shapiro is just kind of seething right now. And it's crazy because this was Ben Shapiro just a couple of months ago. He was feeling so good. He was really feeling himself.
Raw.
Be optimistic at this point. I gotta say, I'm enjoying the evening. The enjoyment portion of this evening has officially begun. It's now a Jewish holiday. That's right. It went from tragedy to triumph. That's right. It's time to break out some symbolic rituals. It's time to eat some kosher food. It's time to imbibe, and it's time to speak some Yiddish. Yeah, baby. Suck on that, Nick Fuentes.
Time to speak some Yiddish. Oy vey. Can I get a oy vey, y'all? It's time. He said it's time to speak some Yiddish. Let the church say oy vey. My bad. I didn't mean to drop that. It's time to speak the Yiddish, y'all.
Enjoying the evening. The enjoyment portion of this evening has officially begun. It's now a Jewish holiday. That's right. It went from tragedy to triumph. That's right. It's time to break out some symbolic rituals. It's
Red Illusion says, how do you say no more money for you in Yiddish? I don't know. You might not be able to translate that properly into Yiddish. I don't think there's a phrase for that. And like, you know how we were having that conversation about African time and the problem of abstract concepts? Like, I don't know if you could conceptualize that in Yiddish. You feel me? Like, I just don't think you could quite bridge that gap.
It's time to eat some kosher food. It's time to imbibe, and it's time to speak some Yiddish. Yeah, baby. Suck on that, Nick Fuentes.
The Hebrew hammer.
Yeah,
Hebrew. Yeah, that's right.
And you guys think it's going to be based? I mean,
Not the Hebrew hammer. Oh my, not the Hebrew hammer. Whatever that means, I don't want anything to do with it.
this is what I'm talking about. This is not going to be a based administration. That's the problem. Hello, vindicated. Oy vey, it's a Jewish holiday. Take that, anti-Semites. It's going to be great. This is literally what I'm fucking talking about, you guys. So,
this has been like one of the funniest little battles that's been going on for a while. Nick has kind of low-key been attacking the whole Daily Wire crowd, honestly. He got beef with the whole gang. Because, you know, you got Matt Walsh and what's the other guy that works there? Michael something. It's like the Christians working for the Jews, and Nick Fuentes is never going to stop reminding them that that shit looks crazy. Wait, did we lose that audio? Let me start that over.
get real, get a grip, man. You're a white Catholic, start acting like it. Don't be such a coward. And listen, and Matt Walsh, when he is ready to just talk about the real issue, I will shake his hand. I will apologize. I will be right there with him. But until that day comes, I have to call you out. It's not personal. I don't hate you. I don't even think he's a bad guy, but he is being a coward. You are being a coward. I will hear no more chest beating, chest thumping by white men who are so cowardly they won't talk about who is really taking our sovereignty from us. Don't you notice it's always these white men, and I'm going to vilify him in the other direction for a moment, pardon me. It's all these white men beating their chest. Our civilization, explorers, pioneers, conquerors, these brown people could never. Oh, really, tough white man? Oh, really, big white man? My ancestor? The founding fathers would never. What do you think the founding fathers would say about you working for Ben Shapiro, huh? What do you think George Washington, the hero, the Titan, what do you think George Washington or any of them for that matter, would think about you working for Ben Shapiro? What do you think about America going to war for Israel? What do you think they would say about Jews running the Ivy Leagues, Jews running the media, Jews running our Congress, bribing our politicians, controlling the National Security Council, the State Department, the Pentagon?
My answer is no. No to the Groypers. No to their publicists like Tucker Carlson. No to those who champion them. No to demoralization. No to bigotry and anti-meritocratic horse shit. No to anti-Americanism. No. This is our country. This is our party. And this is our conservative movement. And I will not stand by while it is handed over.
Now, when Ben Shapiro, with his very large, tiny hat, is it just me? Did his tiny hat get bigger as the show went on today? Like, I swear that hat was a little smaller an hour ago, but he's got a very large, tiny hat. And when he tells us that this is our conservative movement, I'm not sure who the functional our is in that statement there.
This is our party, and this is our conservative movement. And I will not stand by while it is handed over to those who betray the most fundamental principles I have spent my entire life defending and advocating. That is a path to defeat and a path to moral oblivion. I reject it, because if we lose the right, we will lose to the left. And either way, we'll lose the country. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show.
I don't apologize for one single thing I've ever said. And would you like to know why? Because we all see right through the tactics. This has always been the tactic from day one, which is this. Whenever somebody criticizes Israel, whenever somebody is identified as a powerful, influential opponent of their real agenda, which is what is happening in the Middle East, they go back to the playbook. And the playbook is character assassination. Do you think that Ben Shapiro really cares about even one of those clips? Do you think he cares about anything that I have ever said on the show? Does he watch my show? Does he understand the context of any of those things? Does he care? Does he think those are an honest representation of my deepest held views? Does he care if it's honest? The answer is no. Would you like to know why? I'll give you a perfect counterexample. Ben Shapiro is friends with Dave Rubin. For those that don't know anything about Dave Rubin is a homosexual. He's in a gay marriage, and Dave Rubin has adopted children through surrogacy. That means that him or his partner artificially inseminated some woman with the intention and the purpose of eventually that woman has the child, and the child is adopted by Dave and his partner.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Whoa. Wait a minute. Let's put the show on break for a minute here. You know, yesterday, I was talking about that whole black conservative conversation over there with Hamp and them. And I pointed out how, look, you don't really need to spend all your time trying to defend conservatism. You don't have to point out all the positive, practical benefits of being on the right. You just have to point out that why are you guys standing over there with the transgenders and the gay couple who bought a baby off some pregnant crackhead?
Do you think that Ben Shapiro really cares? The answer is no. Would you like to know why? I'll give you a perfect counterexample. Ben Shapiro is friends with Dave Rubin. For those that don't know anything about Dave Rubin is a homosexual. He's in a gay marriage, and Dave Rubin has adopted children through surrogacy. That means that him or his partner artificially inseminated some woman with the intention and the purpose of eventually that woman has the child, and the child is adopted by Dave and his partner. This is evil. This is among the most evil things, short of, let's say, murder, that a person can imagine. Why is that? And it's not because of a disgust reflex. It's not because it's because you are creating a child. You are bringing a life into the world with the intention of depriving that child of their mother. Think about that. Think about what your mother means to you. Your mother is the person that loves you more than anyone else in the world. Your mother would die for you, literally take a bullet for you. There is nobody on earth, and obviously there's exceptions to this. There's people that are mentally ill. There's women that have, weird things with their children. But the default, women, mothers in particular, they come the closest to unconditional love that you will ever experience from anyone on earth. And Dave Rubin and his partner are involved in the evil of surrogacy, which is to bring a life into the world, an innocent child that had no business in any of this, never consented to this, to take that child from their mother, rip them from the womb, rip them from their mother, and say, you're with two guys now. You're with two big, hairy, sweaty guys, not your mother.
This is your MAGA movement? Two big, hairy, sweaty guys with a condo in Tel Aviv, walking around shirtless with a newborn infant. This is your MAGA movement?
What does that do to a child? What does that do to a human being? Where would we be without our mothers? You want to talk about, in one of my clips, I jokingly said, women like rough sex. That's the gist of it. I said, women like when you beat the shit out of them. I'm joking and talking about how women like rough sex. That seems to be the trend these days. I don't think that's controversial. And so they say, Nick says he loves rape. Really? Dave Rubin, this is a crime. This is like a prosecutable crime. Brought a child into the world to take the child from their mother. And Shapiro's friends with this guy, interviews this guy, hangs out with him, drinks with him, smokes cigars with him. So now tell me again that it's about clips from my show. Tell me again that it's because I'm a sexist. Tell me again it's because I'm a reprehensible person. Ben Shapiro just got back from Israel where he met with Netanyahu. Netanyahu has been prime minister of Israel for 20 years. How many children has he been involved in the murder of? How many rapes from the IDF has Netanyahu been involved in?
We're not even, because of YouTube policy reasons, the overwhelming vast majority of video, you're just not allowed to play. Oh, the stories that come out of that place, you're really not allowed to talk about. Like, I'll give you one example that kind of was like it was like oh wow kind of moment. Rarely am I surprised at the depravity of the human spirit. I've been thoroughly baptized. I understand how dark we can all be, right? And then I came across this story that kind of took me aback. So and it's real. They have an army. They have a military. And their military was credibly, because it was on camera, it was videotaped. They were abusing prisoners, right? And this was like a year ago. Very recently, they were abusing prisoners. And it was all caught on video. And so it became a scandal. And, being a modern, relatively westernized government, they had to prosecute the soldiers for the abuse, right? And the country not the military really, but citizens of the country erupted in protest and said they have a right to abuse. And I quote, it will forever be known as the right to rape protest. They said they had a right to it. What is morality even? I don't even know what that word means when I listen to Ben Shapiro. When Ben Shapiro's talking, I have no idea what morality really is anymore.
He is a war criminal, according to the ICC and the ICJ, and by the way, our own government. A murderer, a killer, a warmonger, a war criminal. So let's back this up, Shapiro. You got a problem with jokes on a show. You got a problem with edgelord jokes on a show by a guy, a talk show host. But you sit with people that take children from their mother. You sit with war criminals, bloodthirsty maniacs. He's on trial in 5 different cases in his own country. His own people hate him. That's okay? Tell me again it's about clips. Tell me again it's about being an edgelord or jokes. It's not. And it's never been about that. And he sits there on his show smug. Oh, here's him being here. He said this. He said, and it's a 10-second clip. Fuck you. And you know what that is? That is a coordinated smear campaign. People don't understand how this works. You've got people at Daily Wire that get paid a salary to watch my show. Not because they like it, not because they're interested in it. They get paid. Every time I say something off color, they take the timestamp, they download the clip, and they put that in the folder. What's the purpose of this? So that if somebody ever goes off the reservation, if somebody becomes an inconvenience, we're going to throw that out there and we're going to air that out. Oh, well, you might think this guy's against Israel, but we'll look at this clip. It's dishonest. It's a lie. This is what they do. Accuse, point the finger, blame. You said this, you did that. Don't listen to him. This is how they operate. Said another way, this is what they do to the politicians. That's blackmail. You don't think that's what Jeffrey Epstein was involved in? You don't think that's what the Mossad and the Shin Bet are involved in? Blackmail, intimidation, bullying. If you don't go with what we say, we will destroy your reputation. We'll blackmail you, we'll intimidate you, we'll hurt people you love. We'll take your career, we'll take your money, we'll hurt your life. So you better go along with it. That's what they do. And the whole operation is built on dishonesty. So let's just stop with the games. We don't need to play games anymore. Everybody knows what this is about. And it's not about clips. You know what this is about? This is about Israel. Everybody knows that. Here's the proof, and I can prove it to you. People think I'm going to come out and say, well, yeah, in this clip I said this, and I'm sorry about that. It's a bad faith attack. It's a bad faith character assassination. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that's how they play. That's why everybody's walking on eggshells and got to be so politically correct because they're afraid of that. I'm not afraid of that. I know what this is. You know what this is. Everyone knows how they operate at this point. This is about the fact that Ben Shapiro only cares about Israel. He's a single issue voter. If he thinks you're with Israel, he supports you. If he thinks you're against Israel, he doesn't support you. That's simple.
And there it is. For a while, again, I was trying to figure out who exactly is the woke right. And then once you add that whole Zionist variable into the equation, it all becomes very, very clear.
Ben Shapiro, in the year 2000, I think, wrote an article about ethnic cleansing. It said transfer is not a dirty word. And he's arguing for literal ethnic cleansing. Now, I have never argued anything close to that. I've never made the argument that we should ethically cleanse blacks from the United States. But if I did, I'd be hanged by that forever.
Yeah.
Is Shapiro. Why and why not? He is not reminded of that every time he goes around, not because he apologized for it 20 years later, but because he has all the correct opinions. He's not a
100%.
target. He's got backing. And so that kind of tells us that, and by the way, the same applies to all other kinds of scandals. If we want to have an open society, and that's ironic coming from me, but we do need
Libertarian Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, sort of. It's like you do need some level of tolerance, actually, to inoculate yourself from using reputational destruction for political control, because that's what I've come to realize about it.
Dude, you're 100% right. Dude, I used to
Again, it's like, well, he was also real non-white people or mass migration. These people that are communing with demons and engaging in this sort of witchcraft and stuff, and these people that are suppressing the name Christ and suppressing Christianity, they must be absolutely annihilated when we take power. This is God's country. This is Jesus's country. This is not the domain of atheists or devil worshippers or perfidious Jews. This is Christ's country. Josh Hammer and Mark Levin, fuck these people. Like, deeply, seriously, all real Americans, if you are a real American, if you were born in this country, I don't even care who you are, what you are, if you are a real American that loves this country, you have generations in this country, your family or you fought for this flag, fought for the Constitution, fought for our church, fought for our civilization. For all of you, I say about Josh Hammer and Mark Levin and Laura Loomer, fuck them. Fuck them. Deeply, seriously, get them the fuck out of our country.
Nick Fuentes, it should be mentioned, despises Donald Trump and the MAGA movement as well.
Fuck you. Fuck you. You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are. You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, you know I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. And the liberals were right. The MAGA supporters were had. They were.
So that right there is just a brief glimpse into the twisted mind of Nick Fuentes. And there's plenty more where that came from. Of course, hours of it per day, in fact. And there's no doubt that Nick Fuentes has a lot of play these days. That's because the left, by moving into a politics of anti-white, anti-Christian, anti-male identitarianism, created its bizarro mirror image, a white pseudo-Christian incel identitarian movement dedicated to destroying the institutions of this country and replacing Americanism with something else. Nick Fuentes' philosophy is not fully formed. It's an incoherent stew of malignancy.
What is Americanism? And more specifically, when Ben Shapiro says Americanism, what is he referring to?
But that's where Tucker Carlson enters the story. Now, since his exit from Fox News in 2023, when, of course, he was a very, very popular host, Tucker Carlson has turned himself into a conspiracist and a crank and a pathological liar. Tucker excuses Vladimir Putin's murderous and barbarous reign. He has even become one of his most ardent defenders.
It is so much.
Vladimir Putin is murderous and barbarous? That's really funny.
Nicer than any city in my country. I had no idea. My father spent a lot of time there in the 80s when he worked for the US government and barely had electricity. And now it is so much cleaner and safer and prettier aesthetically. Its architecture, its food, its service, than any country, city in the United States that you have to, and this is non-ideological. How did that happen? How did that happen? And at a certain point, I don't think the average person cares as much about abstractions as about the concrete reality of his life. And if you can't use your subway, for example, as many people are afraid to in New York City because it's too dangerous, you have to sort of wonder, like, isn't that the ultimate measure of leadership? And that's true, by the way, it's radicalizing for an American to go to Moscow. I didn't know that, I've learned it this week. To Singapore, to Tokyo, to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Because these cities, no matter how we're told they're run and on what principles they're run, are wonderful places to live.
So I guess you.
How is it that he can talk to? Well, Tucker can't talk to Putin, but you can talk to Bibi Netanyahu. Like, again, when you're listening to Ben Shapiro, I don't even know what morality means anymore. Is this just like 40 minutes of him tattling on everybody?
Trans-Tifa, Marxists, rapists, murderers are Christian Zionists who represent an enormous chunk of the conservative base. According to Tucker Carlson, who admits that he first read the Bible all the way through just 2 years ago, Christians who support a Jewish state of Israel are heretics and blasphemers with a brain virus.
How do you explain Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, and there are a lot like that, John Bolton? I mean, I've known them all, George W. Bush, like Karl Rove. I mean, all people I know personally who I've seen like be seized by this brain virus. And
I mean, from a historical perspective, and most people may not understand it because it's kind of obscure and buried at this point, but to be a Zionist, to be a Christian Zionist, is quite frankly oppositional and antithetical to about 1,500 years. Let's give it the whole 2,000 years of Christian history. It's a simply logically incompatible, logically incoherent position. But people do what they do.
they're not Jewish. Most of them are self-described Christians, and then the Christian Zionists who are, well, Christian Zionists. Like, what is that? Right. And I could just say for myself, I dislike them more than anybody, because like, what? Because it's Christian heresy, and I'm offended by that as a Christian.
Tucker Carlson.
Look, and I'm not even the hardcore Bible thumper, but with one quick glance, it was really apparent that's just how it is.
Has said that he despises American Jews who care about October 7th. We, in his words, don't care about America and also want to get his kids killed in a foreign war.
I've got 4 draft age children. So if you're...
This is really 40 minutes of tattletelling, bro. I can't believe it. How old is Ben Shapiro? This is just... And then the funny thing is, who is he tattling to? Like, because, the idea is you would be telling, your teacher, your principal, or even as adults, you tell the police, you tell the authorities, you tell the fat lady in the HR department, right? Who is Ben Shapiro tattling to at this point?
Playing recklessly, fast and loose with their lives, then I have a right to despise you, and I do. So if you're Nikki Haley, who's running for president, or Ben Shapiro, or half the people I see on television casually mentioning the possibility of nuclear war or sending Americans to fight in the Middle East, or in any way involving us in a war that has nothing to do with prosperity and peace at home, nothing, in other words, to do with us, Americans, then I have a right to call you out and be really offended because it's my family. They live here. It's not a joke to me. There's nothing abstract about it.
But most of all, Tucker Carlson acts as an ideological launderer for other people's evils. Tucker Carlson says many inflammatory things, always buying back just enough of it to appear as though he's not saying what he's clearly saying. He's a master of gaslighting. Tucker Carlson, for example, would never say out loud what Nick Fuentes does. He wouldn't say the things many of his guests say.
It's so weird. Every now and then, as Shapiro talks, and like I watch his facial expressions and his little subtle twitches and ticks or whatever. As he gets older, because you couldn't have said this about him 10 years ago when he was, embarrassing college kids about abortion and all that. But now, as he's coming into his full mature self as he's becoming a complete Shapiro. It's like I'm watching him transform into the happy merchant meme. Like as he's talking, every now and then, for a brief second, you get a flash of the happy merchant. Like I just saw it a minute ago when he was kind of like, like every now and then, like as you look at him, just little flashes. It's like there's a happy merchant just dying to bust out of him, like the little alien monster. It's weird.
And so instead, he acts as an ideological launderer. He takes other people's hideous ideas, he softens them, he treats them with love and care, and then he provides them with a massive signal boost. He isn't merely talking to people in good faith, of course. He's promoting certain people and ideas and attacking others. So, for example, he'll ask a series of wildly obsequious questions to Nick Fuentes. He'll even let Nick Fuentes' support for Joseph Stalin slide.
It's actually funny. It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me. And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday.
Oh.
I'm a fan.
You're a fan of Stalin's?
Mm-hmm. Always an admirer. But we don't need to go into that. I guess. Like,
let's, okay, let's get back. We'll circle back to that.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand the Stalin thing, but I mean, if it was that important, you'd have played the rest of the context, so whatever.
But he will grill Ted Cruz about the population of Iran. Tucker Carlson will have on Vladimir Putin's evil anti-American mouthpiece, Alexander Dugin, and then praise him.
Alexander Dugin is a 62-year-old Russian academic philosopher. He spent his life in Moscow. He was an anti-Soviet dissident as a young man. And now he is famous the world over, in the English language press anyway, as, quote, Putin's brain. But he is not a political figure here in Russia. He is, once again, a philosopher. And his ideas are deeply offensive to some people.
You know, the Ben Shapiro show really did just become Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson's greatest hits, you know?
In August of 2022, his only daughter was murdered in Moscow when a car bomb killed her. U.S. intelligence says she was murdered by the Ukrainian government, and we take that at face value. But what's interesting is that, once again, Alexander Dugin is not a military leader. He's not a close daily advisor to Vladimir Putin. He is a writer who writes about big ideas. And for this, his books have been banned by the Biden administration in the United States. You cannot buy them on Amazon. Banning books in the United States because the ideas inside are too dangerous. He's often described, again in the English language press, as far right. We'll let you assess. But we wanted to talk to him about some of his ideas, these ideas that are so dangerous that his only daughter was murdered over them, and his book's been banned in the United States.
Tucker Carlson will have on a Hitler-friendly pseudo-historian to minimize the Holocaust and blame Winston Churchill for World War II. And he will call him America's best and most honest historian.
I thought Churchill was the chief villain of the Second World War. Now, he didn't kill the most people. He didn't commit the most atrocities. But I believe, and I think when you really get into it and tell the story right and don't leave anything out, you see that he was primarily responsible for that war becoming what it did, becoming something other than an invasion of Poland. You know,
this is like really great promotion for Tucker and Nick Fuentes.
Germany, look, they put themselves into a position, and Adolf Hitler's chiefly responsible for this, but his whole regime is responsible for it, that when they went into the East in 1941, they launched a war where they were completely unprepared to deal with the millions and millions of prisoners of war, of local political prisoners and so forth that they were going to have to handle. They went in with no plan for that. And they just threw these people into camps, and millions of people ended up dead there.
And that is the pseudo-historian that Tucker Carlson has said is the best and most honest historian in America. Tucker Carlson will have on over and over a pro-Chinese propagandist who used global warming to promote global socialism, all in order to criticize Israel and hug China.
Israel has run American foreign policy in the Middle East for 30 years. That's how it works. This is actually the truth. If we drop our angst on big bad Russia.
Is he going to take any time to disprove anything that anybody says? It's just like one clip after another. Nick said this, Tucker said that. Nick said this. Tucker talked to that guy. It's just crying, bro. Grown-ups aren't supposed to cry like this, man. Come on. This is bad.
Actually, we didn't have a chance to talk about it this time. Maybe another time. Big bad China, which is also not going to invade the United States, not going to threaten us, not going to go to war with us. They got they're trying to deal with aging, and they've got their declining population and many other things. Not that they're falling apart. It's a very impressive civilization, but they're not a threat to the United States, honestly. And Iran is not a threat.
Tucker Carlson, of course, brings on pro-Hamas voices episode after episode after episode. The instances are almost limitless. Tucker Carlson will host Andrew Tate, a pornographer and scam artist who mocks rape victims and preaches a cult of narcissism and cruelty. And of course, Tucker Carlson will glorify him and present him as a maligned truth teller rather than an emblem of moral rot. See, this is how Tucker Carlson's ideological laundering works. You bring your dirty, ugly ideologies to Tucker Carlson's rhetorical car wash. He mixes it with some of the vestigial respect Americans have for him from his Fox News days, and voila, hideous ideas suddenly become mainstream. And then, of course, Tucker denies he said anything controversial at all. He was just asking questions. He was just interviewing people. You don't want him to cancel people, do you? Of course, there is no First Amendment right to a Tucker Carlson sensual massage. But to listen to Tucker, you'd think there was, so long as you despise America, oppose President Trump's foreign policy, and bear a peculiar dislike of Jews. Tucker Carlson, you see, is a coward. And here is where his relationship with Nick Fuentes begins, with Nick Fuentes correctly pointing out that Tucker Carlson is a coward. You see, Tucker Carlson, a few weeks back, had on Candace Owens to treat her to his usual ideological laundering services.
Damn, not Candace. You're gonna drag Candace into it? What my girl Candy do now? Candy been on some shit lately, boy. Once she broke from the Daily Wire, she been on a mission, calling out secret gays and transgender love affairs. Candace Owens been on some shit. She calling out conspiracies behind Charlie Kirk. Candace be going where no man ever wants to go. I'm not even mad at her. She might be on to some things. I'm just saying, man, Candace is on another level.
That's after years of Candace Owens saying things like this.
And it is the case that dinosaur bones, for whatever reason, are always just found by the paleontologist. Like, it's not like you and me walking outside. I'm like, hey, a dinosaur bone. And, or by somebody who's related to a paleontologist. It's very strange. And then, but it was just convenient for Israel that JFK got shot. It was just convenient, you guys.
Hey, Red, I love the term Keisha-waffin. Ben Shapiro made Candace into a Keisha-waffin. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. She is like the flag. She's like the beta model. You know, we're beta testing a new type of Keisha. A proper right-wing black woman. You know, to go along with the new Uber Negro. We need a Keisha-waffin to pair off with the Uber Negro of the next, what is it, the 22nd century? Whatever the future is, we need a Keisha-waffin to pair off with the Uber Negro of the future.
Totally convenient. It was convenient for Israel, by the way, when the towers went down.
I just want to be clear. Anything happens to me, blame the Zionists. Like 1000% blame the Zionists. Like let that be my parting word.
I'm waking people up to the fact that pedophiles are in power.
Yes.
They are literally in power. And that is intentional because then they can be controlled while they are in power. And they are also exhibiting signs of a psychopathology that lets them know that they will do harm to the masses and feel nothing because they were themselves, many of them, raped when they were children. Yep. It is not a coincidence that Justin Trudeau is gay. Obama, gay. Zelensky, gay.
All of these niggas gay. Shout out to Candace, the perfect weapon. My new Keisha-waffin. She just sits on her podcast calling all the world leaders gay. That nigga gay. Nigga gay, nigga gay, nigga gay, nigga gay, nigga gay. She's the perfect weapon.
Emmanuel Macron, gay and married to a trans man who molested him when he was a child.
Well, Candace Owens had recently hosted Nick Fuentes, and this led Tucker Carlson in an attempt to dissociate from Fuentes, to label him a weird little gay kid operating from a basement, and a Fed as well.
That's obvious to me. I've been around a long time. I know it when I see it.
Yeah, and I will say I don't understand it. We were very kind to him. Like, I truly, like, we almost said, like, we felt maybe he was a bit lonely. We should invite him back for dinner. I mean, that's how good of an experience I had. And
yeah, clearly it's
and then
sad.
it was a 180. So it's either A, it's being driven from like a little boy insecurity, and he just was so worried that he like just went on the attack because he doesn't know how to have normal relations after being banned everywhere.
Well, I think there's
that could be one element.
The angry gay kid thing going on. Yeah.
Well, Nick Fuentes did not take kindly to this. After all, here was Tucker Carlson, a man Nick Fuentes correctly sees as a fellow traveler, dismissing him, all the while refusing to say the sorts of things for which Fuentes takes slings and arrows. And
Ben Shapiro has become a gossip girl. That's really what this whole thing, it's 40 minutes of gossip girling. He's tattling, he's gossiping. He's a little bit jealous, though. He's mad because he ain't got the juice no more. He doesn't have an army of Gen Alphas or whatever the new name is. None of the kids like him. The cool kids think he's a weirdo. All the cool kids think his tiny hat is a bit too large.
So Fuentes unleashed on him as a fraud and also as an expert on gaslighting.
Tucker is like the GOAT of gaslighting. But unironically, he goes up at the memorial and said, Charlie Kirk told the truth. You know who else told the truth? Jesus. And you know what happened? He got killed by Jews. And people said, so are you saying that the Jews killed Charlie Kirk in the way that they killed Jesus for telling the truth because they hate the truth? And Tucker said, I never said that. You're crazy. I never said that. Everyone eats hummus. What do you mean everyone runs Jerusalem?
Oh, man. Look, the kid is good, though. You got to give it to him, man. The kid is good. He really is good. Like, who else is moving at this level?
But I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Tucker Carlson says, I have so many trust funds, I never have to work. Tucker went to a $45,000 per year private high school, then a $45,000 per year selective Ivy League school in New England. Tucker Carlson's daddy was a Reagan appointee. And then, after years of bragging about being an elite, bragging about being so out of touch and so rich, now he's going to be the spokesperson for all the white people. Now he's going to roll up his sleeves. I just like to hunt and fish in my log cabin. I care about Klarna and credit card debt. But then when it comes to me, I'm one of the real disaffected white people. You want to talk about me and them? I am them.
Well, there was one big problem for Tucker Carlson in all of this. Nick Fuentes is absolutely 100% correct. Tucker is a coward, and Tucker's audience, much of which he shares with Nick Fuentes, knows it. And so Tucker hit upon a final stratagem. He let Nick Fuentes cuck him. He brought Nick Fuentes on to legitimate his ideology. He signal boosted Fuentes, glossed him, shined him, presented him to the world, all in order to protect his own reputation with his online base, a base he is competing over with Nick Fuentes. Now, of course, Tucker has a right to do all of this for the 100th time. He can do what he likes. This is America. But there's no question that Tucker has become the most virulent super spreader of vile ideas in America. And the rest of us who oppose those vile ideas have every right to call him that. There's one other element here that's even darker, if possible. Tucker Carlson preys on the friendship he proclaims with others, and then he knifes them directly between the shoulder blades when convenient for him. Tucker Carlson is, in short, a terrible friend. Tucker Carlson was supposedly Charlie Kirk's friend. Charlie believed that Nick Fuentes was vermin. That's a direct quote. He believed that because Nick Fuentes dedicated his life to destroying Charlie Kirk and TPUSA from the inside. In fact, here's Nick Fuentes describing Charlie Kirk the month before Charlie was murdered.
Charlie Kirk cannot call himself a Christian anymore. Sorry, you forfeited that. I do not want to hear, and you cannot allow Charlie Kirk to go to one more public event, one more question and answer, one more ask me anything, without being protested, without being shouted down, without being interrogated about this.
This guy goes around from campus to campus in the most artificial and phony and fake way.
And here is Nick Fuentes describing how he destroyed TPUSA from the inside.
Whether he chooses to confront me or not, whether he has dignity and honor or not, it's just a matter of time. My ideas are already there. I've already impregnated your organization. I took Turning Point USA and I fucked it. I took your organization, I took your baby, Turning Point USA, and I fucked it. And I've been fucking it. And that's why it's filled with Groypers. That's why your whole crew, that's why the people around you, that's why your chapter presidents, that's why your attendees, they're all Groypers.
And here's Nick Fuentes calling Charlie Kirk unpatriotic and talking about.
Bro, I really thought I was going to get like Ben Shapiro saying something interesting, you know, having a pointed, logical clapback. You know, here's why Nick Fuentes is wrong. Let me give you 3 quick facts to disprove Nick Fuentes, right? And I'm just like, you got anything better than just tattletale clips, bro? Like, listen, we all react to clips over here, but you're not even reacting to them. You just, here's Nick Fuentes saying this really cool shit here. Here's Nick Fuentes saying this awful joke here. Here's Nick Fuentes talking about ethos. Here's Nick Fuentes talking about this. Here's Tucker Carlson talking to a Russian guy. Here's Tucker Carlson talking to a Muslim. Here's Tucker Carlson in Moscow. Bro, say something. God damn. This is killing me. And this is the guy that used to go to debates. He used to go to colleges. Remember, we used to think he was really good at this shit? He would just go to colleges. I guess it's really true. He's only really strong in front of college kids who don't really know anything. Keep Shapiro away from 18-year-olds.
About how he's a retarded idiot and saying all firepower should be focused on Charlie Kirk.
I think a lot of people are starting to find out Charlie Kirk is not the patriot that he says he is. And so I look at what happened last night and I think to myself, this is totally a doable operation. You know, Charlie Kirk in the grand scheme of things is just some retarded idiot. The dog is terrified. I had to go upstairs and reassure him because I'm screaming at my screen, calling Charlie Kirk a bitch and everything. The contrast could not be more clear. Charlie Kirk is a totally unexceptional human being. A moral struggle that's happening on the higher dimension, right? Which is Christ versus the devil. Who does Charlie...
Now notice these clips are like years ago, because after the Kirk assassination, a lot of these guys buried the hatchet. And so now you got, you know, Fuentes out. I mean, not Fuentes. You got Shapiro out here just crying into the wind. You ever seen a grown man cry into the wind?
Well, now Tucker Carlson has seen fit to launder Nick Fuentes, the person who hated Charlie most and who wished him destruction. That's not an act of friendship. It's an act of sick evil. And then, of course, there's Tucker Carlson's relationship with the vice president. Certainly, Vice President Vance has been quite generous with Tucker Carlson. That loyalty was not reciprocated last week, to say the least. Here, for example, is what Nick Fuentes has said about J.D. Vance's wife, Usha.
Andrew Tate and Bronze Age pervert and all these people, for years, all they talk about is going to the gym, being a vitalist, fighting the Matrix, India smells bad, all this kind of shit. And now they're all in favor of a fat race mixer who's married to a Jeet who named his son Vivek, who was mentored by a Jewish neocon and a gay Fed, Peter Thiel. This guy has a non-white wife and a kid named Vivek. This guy is going to be a defender of white identity? I don't think so. This guy's going to defend American identity?
You slammed J.D. Vance for having an Indian wife, yet Trump's wife is an immigrant who was working here illegally for a time. His son is half foreign, bilingual, and holds dual citizenship, yet you give him a pass. You're either a hypocrite or just retarded.
She's white. Dude, she's white. If we had millions of Slovenian supermodels immigrating to America, I don't think we'd have a big problem with it.
Tucker Carlson.
So you know what? I'm kind of done with the tattletelling here. Let me kind of close out with this last part, because the tattletelling is just too much for me. I'm a little bit disgusted at a grown man crying into the wind, tattling to nobody. This nigga's tattling to the ether.
Groyper Bondo 07 sent $50. Hey Ben, keep Nick Fuentes' name out your mouth. You're irrelevant now. Love you, Nick. Less than 3.
Well, and he should debate me. If he feels so strongly, then debate me. He won't. He knows he won't. You know he won't. I know he won't. Come and debate me then. I have 55,000 live viewers. How many live viewers do you get? He knows that if he debates me, it'll be the most watched debate in politics in 10 years. It'll be bigger than the Trump-Biden debate. It'll be the most watched debate since Trump debated Hillary Clinton. He knows he will lose. He knows that everyone will rally to my side, and he knows that Israel first is over. That's why he'll never do it. But the offer stands. You want to play my clips, call me out. You want to hide. I'm right here. I'm right here. I will debate you anytime, anywhere. Bring it on. You won't. You're a bitch. You would lose. You know that. Keep talking. Until then, keep talking.
And that's about that.
Can a nigga live? Can a nigga live? Please.
Hit that like button, y'all. Thanks for watching. We're going to wrap this one up.
None of these niggas have motion except for me. There has to be one real nigga left in America, in this damn country.